I can only imagine, and I know, frankly, that a lot of you Bears fans out there, just like myself, have been wondering what the team's general manager, Ryan Poles, is going to do at the trade deadline. Is it going to look to try and bring in somebody on the offensive line, look to bring in a wide receiver, look to put something competent around second-year quarterback Justin Fields? Or is he going to be selling at the deadline and trying to trade off some pieces, most notably somebody like a Robert Quinn? Is it going to be a combination of, well, I think we got at least one part of the answer in the middle of this week as we saw the news come out that the Chicago Bears had indeed traded the team's single-season sack record holder in Robert Quinn, who passed Richard Dent's single-season sack record last season, to the Philadelphia Eagles in exchange for a fourth-round pick in the 2023 NFL Draft. You know, this has been a trade that I think a lot of Bears fans have been pointing to happening, the need for it to happen, and realistically, thought that this would have happened in the offseason. I'd really be curious to know why it didn't. There are a variety of factors that could be at play, and it could have been that the Bears' asking price in the offseason was just too high. Maybe they were a little afraid of, I already traded away Khalil Mack. We don't also want to trade away Robert Quinn, thinking about it from an optics standpoint, although that would feel like the wrong thing. Maybe it was more so of a piece of the Bears were asking for a little bit more and willing to pay a little bit less on the contract than teams were necessarily interested in. That could be. Or the Bears just might not have had much interest in trading Robert Quinn at the time. I do find the timing interesting that you come off of the, frankly, blowout win over the Patriots on Monday night in prime time, and now you're trading off Robert Quinn when you're in 3-4. That's good. There's absolutely no reason to keep Robert Quinn on this team. This Bears team is not going anywhere. You damn good and well know it. It's not about this season. It's about the long term. And specifically, it's about the long term in Justin Fields. And you talk about what you invest in this team, it all needs to be geared around Justin Fields, not the damn defense. Enough is enough with Bears football! But I digress. I'm really happy for Robert Quinn because he gets the chance to go chase a ring. Don't need to toil in Chicago. Don't need to sit there and waste, one of the remaining years of your career on a mediocre, bad team. Nope, not at all. However, I look at this deal like it was a necessary thing. It had to happen. And the fact that the Bears are getting a fourth-round pick back isn't all bad. Absolutely not. I just find it interesting from a Bears and Bears fan standpoint how many people are using this as an opportunity to crown their king, Ryan Poles, the general manager. Like this was some great historic feat. Like this was some absolute genius crap here. Let's look at last year. Von Miller, I realize, is a better player than Robert Quinn, I'll grant you. But Von Miller was traded by the Broncos to the Rams, and the Broncos got a second and third round pick in the return. The Bears here got a fourth round pick. I mean, it's something. It's okay value. You would see people talking about like what you could get. Was it going to be a third or fourth round pick? I personally would look at this and say, you basically leased him out without really expecting the Eagles to make any type of payment. The payment is, here's a lottery ticket, a fourth-round pick that could be very valuable in the future. It could be worth jack shit. It's just interesting. So when I'm seeing Bears fans talking about how great of a move this was, it was okay. Like, let's not oversell this. Because if you really want to be honest about it, the Bears are taking on the majority of Robert Quinn's salary here. They're paying over $7 million the rest of this year for a guy that's not going to play for them. That means, if you want to take one spin at it, they basically are paying $7 million to the Philadelphia Eagles' fourth-round draft pick. Which, oh, by the way, this is where it really, puzzles me a little bit. Is that's not just a fourth-round pick. That's going to be a late 4th round pick based off of where the Eagles are right now as an undefeated team. Like, they look like a contender in the NFC. So that pick realistically is going to end up what, in like the 130s? You basically gave up a Robert Quinn, who had 18.5 sacks, wasn't it, last year, for a back half of the draft pick. That's what they did. And paying $7 million for the right to do so. And you could say, well, it's a sunken cost anyways. They were going to pay the $7 million no matter what. Yeah, fair point. I would counter with, well, if you're basically not going to give the Eagles any of that financial burden, they should have been required to pay a little bit more in terms of draft pick capital. And even if that means that it comes in the form of like a 5th or 6th round pick in 2024, just something. I was a little underwhelmed. It wasn't bad. It's not terrible. And I know how big a crybabies you bear down crew can be. But be honest. This is not some fucking genius move. It's not. Cut the shit. Cut the shit. It's an adequate move. Better to get something back for him than get nothing back for him. You wonder, hey, could the value have been a little bit more if you would have traded him when his value was at its highest during the offseason? Hard to believe you couldn't have found somebody to give you more for him. And I'll be honest, I gotta remain in that camp. I find it very hard to believe that the best you could have gotten in this scenario was a contending team coming to you and basically giving you the ass end of the 4th round pick that they have. All while letting you just basically pay $7 million for that guy to not play for you to the right to lend in and get that 4th round pick that's going to be like in the 130s. That's crazy to me. But, again, better than nothing, and the Bears desperately, badly need draft capital. The good thing about this Robert Quinn deal is it frees up time in the lineup and lets you get more playing time for Travis Gibson. It lets you get more playing time for Dominique Robinson. These are the guys you need to get more playing time for. Robert Quinn was just impeding that. He had to go. You know he wasn't going to be there for the long term, so why fuck around and screw things up? Get the young guys in the lineup and let's see what they got. That's what you should be doing. So for that, I'm 100% aligned with Ryan Poles' decision. As far as the Eagles go, I mean, look at this shit. They're giving up a 4th round pick that's going to be at the back end of the 4th round. Who gives a crap? They're hardly paying any money this year for him. That's an added bonus. And Robert Quinn, part of the reason he was struggling a little bit, I think, this year was he was facing a high level of double teams. Like, he was one of the most double-teamed edge rushers in all of the league. Now he goes to Philadelphia and he can play with guys like Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham. He's going to get more one-on-one matchups. Like, if you're the Eagles, this is the type of move that you look at and say, hey, we really didn't have to give up shit to get this guy, and he's another piece in the trenches, another piece of the defensive line, and that crap really matters come playoff time when you need to get after opposing quarterbacks. Like, I love this move by Howie Roseman. It's like I said, what did they really give up? Almost nothing. But this is exactly the type of thing that you do when you're a team that's in a position to be a contender. Fuck a pick, especially like a day 3 pick that's going to be in the 130s. You go for it, and you go for it now. And that's exactly what this move is. So I'm happy for Robert Quinn. Thank him for his time in Chicago. He was great last season for sure. It's amazing, too, isn't it, kind of the arc of Robert Quinn, where he went from, this is a really terrible, horrible Ryan Pace signing, to last year, oh my God, he's a record-setting Chicago Bears defensive end, to we can't wait for him to be traded, he's got to go. Like, weird kind of story arc for Robert Quinn in Chicago. But happy for him. Go try and win a ring in freaking Philly. One happening here in Chicago. Happy the Bears got something back for him, and I bet Eagles fans are happy because they're like, yeah, we got another piece on the defensive line, and realistically, we ain't pay shit to get him. You got to probably feel really, really good about that one. And if I was in your spot, I would too. As far as Bears fans, I'm not telling you to not feel okay about this. It's just, I don't know that there is a fan base in existence that hypes up more mid-crap to be great, outside of maybe professional wrestling. That's one other fan base that I could think of where professional wrestling fans lie to themselves about a bunch of mid-crap being great so often. It's Bears fans are in that same classification. So this is an okay thing. Like, stop trying to do backflips for a GM that still has proven absolutely nothing to you one way or another. And your whole point's going to be about, well, look at this. It frees up more money in the future, $125 million. That's great. But what is there going to be to spend that money on? And sure, there could be some players in free agency. You might look at the offensive line. Maybe you say, like, if he's not franchised by the Chiefs, Orlando Brown Jr. might be target number one. You know, you're going to find ways to spend the money, but they got to spend a shit ton of money just to get to the floor, the salary floor. And it's great to have all that future money in theory, but what the hell are you going to have to use it on? And you look at a team like the Jaguars. I know it's the Jaguars and everything else, but let's not pretend like the Bears are a whole hell of a lot better. The Jags spent a shit ton of money in free agency this offseason, and they sit at 2-5. Just saying. So, let's not get all giggly tits just yet. All that money is great. Those picks are great. Because, I mean, maybe Ryan Poles can find himself another 25-year-old gadget return guy, right?